let's jump into the postseason. So, hello, Phillies Braves. It's coming. And we covered a little bit the other day. Todd Father, your initial thoughts. I mean, this is what we had been anticipating. And it's not even in the CS, it's in the DS because, you don't reseed. So you just have the bracket lining up the two heavyweights. And we'll show some tweets here with some quotes. Alec Boehm on Facing the Atlanta Braves. Quote, I mean, it's a war, man. It's a bunch of really good players on the field just battling. They don't give anything away, and they play clean baseball. They've got a good team, and we've got the same. And then a couple other things. So Matt Gelb talking about how the Phillies were, figuring out what game one looks like, because then you have Wheeler and Nola pitch lining up for games 2 and game 3. And that's where you do get your disadvantage to having to play in a wild card round just now. Like that does make a difference. We'll see, right? But that does make a difference.
Maybe.
Rangers
been the best out of 3 of them against the Braves. Rangers is the best. He has a 1 ERA. He has one strikeout per 9 against the Braves. Nola and Wheeler are good, but not a 1 ERA.
Wow.
Phenomenal.
So
people forget about him, man.
Rangers a guy.
He's been doing it.
He's come out of the bullpen. Now, some of those appearances were out of the bullpen. He had 2 stinkers in 2022 against the Braves, but outside of that, it has been awesome.
Has he been announced as of this second?
No.
Why? Just gamesmanship?
Dude,
why wouldn't he start?
I haven't heard any other reason why he wouldn't start other than they could go with
who else?
They could go with Sanchez. No. Christopher Sanchez has done really well, and so they're trying to decide. The talks I heard, nothing from insider info, the talks I heard was they're talking about Christopher Sanchez hasn't done as well out of the pen, so they thought about doing a tandem, a piggyback kind of thing, and bringing Ranger out of the pen because he's had experience and success coming out of the pen. So they haven't said who it's going to be, but Sanchez is also good. It's not I got to look up what he's done against the Braves this year. I haven't looked that up, but there's a chance it's him.
Can I make an argument that it should be Ranger on the road?
Go ahead.
Guy who's been there before, you know what I'm saying?
I like it.
And has the good numbers and don't get too cute early on?
I wouldn't say it's too cute. I would say it's the idea of how many innings do you need to get? How many innings do you need to get out of those 2 guys? Because those are your 2 guys. If Ranger goes 5 and Sanchez is only going to give you, he's notoriously been taken out this year at like a 60 to 70 pitch range just because they felt like when he's gone 100, he's gotten rocked. But he's had a couple games where he's gone 70 pitches, no hit. You take him out and it's like, so you're looking, how do you get the most innings out of those 2 guys? Somebody talked about Taijuan Walker coming in between those guys. Not saying they're throwing this game away by putting those guys in, but who are the 2 best guys to put in there? And if you're going to go with Sanchez and Ranger, I think there's a talk about what, who needs to start that.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think on the Braves side, dude? Do you think this team's coming in like, we just dominated people in the regular season. We're going to be in good shape. This lineup's insane. Our guys also have been squashing all week the long layoff, the rest, because you're sitting for a while waiting for these games to start. The Phillies now just had a couple days off too, so it's not like, they're playing back-to-back days and they're in their hitting flow. But what do you think for this series?
I think they saw how the Phillies are playing, and they're not a wild card team for sure. They know these boys can bang, they can play, they can pitch, and they are they're getting after it. They know if they got to go to Philly down 0-2 or 1-1, they got to win these first 2 games. And I've been saying this ever since that last game. I think they got to win both these games, in my opinion. I'm not saying they can't win in Philadelphia, but it's freaking raucous over there, dude. If they give up 1 run, it's like 5-0. It's really insane. They're willing this team to win. So for me, if Philly could find a way to get 1 win in Atlanta, I think they win the next 3.
Okay, so help me get through the BS talk, because like I've covered postseasons for years. And I'm in the clubhouse and you're talking to the guys, especially when you're in the scrum and everybody's with you. They're just like in BS mode, right? So let's say it's 1-1 or they're down 2-0 and they're in Philadelphia and it's like day before the game, like travel day or whatever, and we're getting some interviews and all the Braves are going to be like, it's all good, it's just a regular game, still play it at a ballpark, so the fan stuff doesn't really, affect us or anything. Is that bullshit?
I mean, I
You
would
played,
I
like,
would
if
say
you were
so.
there, you'd be
No,
like,
it's going to
what?
affect the strongest. I
Mhm.
mean, honestly, listen. I used to love playing in front of crowds like that, but still, at the end of the day, you feel it. Whether you think you're Mr. Gung Ho, you're the best player in the world, you feel that static energy, that liveliness of the crowd. One strike comes, you're like, oh shit, let's not get to 2. Oh, now we're in a 1-2 count. Here we go. Oh, like you feel it, and like you feel like the umpire is going to call it a strike because he's getting into the game. You feel like if I check swing, there's all these variables that come into play. Listen, it's playoff baseball, dude. This is going to be so much fun. I mean, Atlanta's going to be raucous too, but just I don't know. People understand. Like up here in Philadelphia, the crowd, it's just absolute. It's deafening, to be honest with you, when you're playing in that field. Whether you're home or away, you feel every second of it.
And the question you said, you're like, oh, I was in the scrum. I think in that moment, the day before, the off day, you're like, because that's how you have to prepare. You can't sit there the day before and go, oh my gosh, this is going to be us. I wonder how loud it's going to be. No, you're preparing. So I think it's an honest answer.
Yeah.
I think if you mic'd them up during the game and you're like, oh my gosh, this is ruckus. I would love to see some dudes with the whoops on. I think like a Zach Wheeler, the whoop band thing where they check you can wear it when you're playing and you check your heart rate. And I think a guy like Zach Wheeler, I bet his heart rate goes down when he's pitching.
Yeah, that guy, he doesn't change one bit.
I bet a guy like
mad. He's right here, dude.
I bet a guy like Garrett Stubbs sitting on the bench, his heart rate's going to be going through the roof. And that's where the experience and everything comes into it. You hear that. You hear that. The best players harness that, and they take that, and then they become superpowers. Dudes are hitting balls where they don't hit balls normally. They're throwing balls 99 when they're normally 96, 97.
How about the dude stop, man? Holy cow. The grand slam, like easy money. That was left on left matchup too, bro. That was
Dude, the story is incredible too.
There's going to be more stories.
But the story is, so last year he got destroyed by fastballs, especially fastballs up. Rookie, right? Last year, rookie playing in the bigs, playing in the postseason. They figure out your flaws and they just attack the hell out of it. And you're facing the best pitching. And he watched all of those games back intently, took notes, and obviously, I mean, he could talk to one Philly official, right? You have to do it and work on it and improve it. And Phillies are telling him, hey, dude, like this is what you got to work on. And then this year, crushed fastballs. And then that's like the cool shit in baseball where it's like, oh, you can fix that flaw potentially quickly.
You can.
That's the easiest probably one to fix, right?
If you care about it. I mean, and his heat map is crazy. I just went over the whole scatter report earlier, and his heat map is crazy how he's still hitting. But going into that versus lefties, he still didn't hit a single homer off of a fastball from a lefty. All his homers were sliders. He has better numbers. He was hitting like 300, but very little slug. What does he do? Bases loaded. First pitch. I mean, just nail in the coffin and that place. Like I'm getting chills thinking about. Like I love watching that stuff when it's like you watch the fans. When the fans realize that the ball is going out. Yeah, home plate dudes are raising their hands and they're super juiced.
Yeah.
But when it gets out, and then like people are not, there's no longer like, it's just a different kind of celebration.
It's real.
It's not choreographed. It's not choreographed.
And the last thing I'll finish on that before we got to go. Fastballs are easy practice. Like you could crank the machine up to 100 miles an hour. Eventually, you're going to get that. You're going to hit it.
And it's about
you can.
This isn't for everyone listening and watching.
You can see. Hey, listen, if they say, "Man, you got to work on a curveball," you're getting 80% curveballs. You can hit 500 curveballs in the cage. It's still different in the game.
I can't hit the curveball, coach.
But a fastball is a slider. It's a slight easier adjustment to.
It's a shorter swing, and you have to physically tell your eye that you need to be able to get to that four-seam fastball, and he's done an incredible job of it.
Let's go get some. I'm like juiced.
I'm juiced. I saw your hack attack.
We'll just watch you guys take swings.